Most founders between 1 and 5 million think a fat bank account balance means their business is healthy. But that obsession with cash in an account is exactly why they panic, sell assets, underprice inventory, and make the kind of fear-based financial decisions that quietly kill companies. Here's what's actually happening. Founders who grew up watching every dollar, or who bootstrapped through years of barely making it, are running profitable companies with the same financial anxiety they had when the revenue was zero. And the anxiety is now there for more expensive operating costs. And if you're between 1 and 5 million, and this hits harder than anyone because the numbers are finally big enough to really feel dangerous. $250,000 in inventory, a 6-figure payroll, real tax obligations, but you don't have the CFO or the financial infrastructure to give you clarity, so you're reading your bank balance like a heart monitor and making strategic decisions based on whatever number you see today. If you keep making financial decisions from scarcity instead of strategy, you will sell off your most profitable assets at the worst possible time. You will avoid investments that are actually driving growth, and you'll optimize your entire business around the feeling instead of the actual math. Even when the math is telling you something completely different. I'm Camper Bull. I help founders and business owners build financial clarity and operating systems that let them scale with confidence instead of fear. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I've watched the scarcity trap destroy businesses that had every reason to thrive. I was working with a founder, sharp operator, built a strong product business from scratch, real traction, loyal customers. Earlier that year, she put $250,000 into purchasing inventory. Really smart move, made some good investments, especially when the commodity market was changing so quickly. She knew the products sold, she knew the margins, the math was absolutely sound. But then she looked at her bank account, and the number was low. End of year, most cash was tied up in products sitting in warehouses. And here's the thing, for tax purposes, that wasn't a bad position. Inventory is an asset, and then it's a loss. The money wasn't gone. It was just converted into something she could sell and mark up. But that wasn't how she felt. What she felt was that old, deep survival fear of seeing a low bank account balance. The kind of fear that doesn't care about balance sheets or asset columns. It just seems smaller, the number, and the more small it becomes, the more it screams. So she reacted. She was tired of that cycle. Money in, money out, never feeling secure. And she made a decision from that place of fear that changed her entire business. She sold off most of the profitable position of the company, the part that was generating the highest margins, the stronger customers, the strongest loyalty, the most repeat revenue. She sold it for a guaranteed 20% annual revenue deal. Predictable, safe, no more anxiety. Except, here's what really happened. The company that bought that division couldn't replicate what she did. They didn't have their instincts, her relationships, her understanding of the customer. Within 18 months, that division floundered and effectively disappeared. The revenue she sold it for dried up, and the remaining business, now missing most of its profitable engine, started bleeding out. She didn't lose that company because of bad products or bad customers or bad customer mismatch. She lost it because she made a strategic decision from a scarcity reflex. She's optimizing for feeling, the comfort of seeing a stable bank account instead of reading what actually the numbers were telling her. And by the time she realized it, the damage was done. The scarcity trap, the bank balance, becomes a security blanket instead of a data point. And when you confuse how you feel about your money with how your money is actually performing, you will trade long-term value for short-term comfort every single time. And here are 3 actions that break that pattern. If you only fix one financial blind spot this quarter, try this one. You need to know your actual worst-case number, not the one your anxiety invented at 2 a.m. Action number 1, build a worst-case survival plan. This is a 1-page document with real numbers, not projections, not best-case scenarios, not vibes, actual math for what happens if everything stops. Here's exactly what goes into it. Step 1, calculate your zero revenue runway. If every single client disappeared tomorrow and no new revenue came in, how many months could your business survive? Take your cash plus receivables, divide it by your monthly fixed cost, rent, payroll, subscriptions, insurance, debt service. That's your runway number. Most founders have never calculated this. They just feel like it's bad. When you actually do the math, one of two things happens. You either realize you're in better shape than you thought and the panic loosens, or you realize you have a real problem and now you can fix it with specific information instead of dread. Step 2. Build your cut list. Rank every expense in 3 tiers. Tier 1, cut immediately. If revenue drops 30%, these are the nice to haves, the premium tools, the extra contractor, the office perks nobody uses. Tier 2, cut within 30 days if revenue drops 50%. Hard choices. Team members, marketing channels, maybe warehouse downgrade. And Tier 3, survival mode. The absolute minimum to keep the lights on and serve customers. Having this tiered and pre-decided is critical because the real cash crisis, you don't have to be emotional bandwidth to think about it clearly. The plan thinks for you. Step 3, write down the actual number. What is the dollar figure where you stop panicking? Not 0, not infinity, the specific monthly amount where you can breathe. That's your survival number. Knowing it robs the anxiety of its power because abstract fear is always worse than concrete math. I worked with a founder last year who was convinced that he was 3 months from bankruptcy. When we actually built the survival plan, he had 11 months of runway and cut list that could extend it to 16. 11 months. He'd been losing sleep over a number he'd never calculated, making fear-based decisions with over a year of cushioning sitting right there. The plan didn't change his bank balance, it changed his decision making, and that changed absolutely everything. When you can see the safety net, the tightrope stops feeling like a death sentence. Action number 2 changes your entire way you experience money in your business, and it takes about 30 minutes to set up. Here's the problem with most founders' bank accounts. Everything is in one pile. Operating expenses, growth capital, emergency reserves, and your personal draw all live in the same number. So every time you check your balance, you're looking at one number that's supposed to tell you 5 different things. And it can't. That single number triggers anxiety because you can't tell the difference between just invested $200K and an inventory that will return $600K. I'm running out of money. They look exactly like the same bank, the same statement. And here's the fix. You need a minimum of 3 accounts. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to fund them. Account 1, operating. This is the checking account, pay bills, payroll, rent, vendors, subscriptions, etc. Money moves through here fast. This number is supposed to fluctuate, sometimes incredibly fast. This is normal. Stop reading it as a health indicator. Account 2, the survival reserve. This is a separate savings account that you do not touch unless the business faces an actual existential crisis. Your target balance is 6 months of your personal survival number, the amount from which your worst case plan comes from. Fund it gradually. Set automatic transfers, even if it's $2,000 a month to start. The purpose of this account is psychological as much as financial. When the operating account dips because you've invested or inventory or hired someone, you look at the survival reserve and your nervous system calms down. The safety net is visible and separate. Account 3, growth. This is where you stage your money for intentional investments, inventory purchases, new hires, marketing campaigns, equipment. Money moves from here into the operating account when you pull the trigger on a growth decision. The key is that it's earmarked. When you move $250K to inventory, it leaves the growth account, not the survival reserve, not the other piles. So just the purchase feels like a strategic deployment. It's not a terrifying loss. I had a founder implement these 3 account structures, and within 60 days, they told me it was the single most impactful change they'd made in 4 years of business. Not because the total cash changed. They stopped flinching every time they invested in growth. They stopped second-guessing inventory purchases that they knew were profitable. The anxiety dropped because the clarity went up. If your bank account is making you emotional, the problem isn't the balance. It's that you're asking one number to do the job of 3. Action number 3, stop managing your finances on feeling and start running a monthly ritual that forces you to operate from data. Here's what most founders actually do. They check their bank balance when they're anxious. They avoid looking at the numbers when things feel tight. They make spending decisions based on whether the balance looks comfortable or not. And they never sit down and actually ask, what's my money doing right now? And is it doing what I told it to do? That's how you end up selling most of your profitable part of your business because a low bank account made you panic. Here's the system. Set a recurring calendar invite the first Monday of every month. 30 minutes, non-negotiable. And answer 5 questions with actual numbers. Not feelings or estimates, not vibes, numbers. Ask these questions. Question 1. What is my actual cash position across 3 accounts right now? Operating, survival, and growth. Write down each number. Question 2. What did you invest in this month? And what is the expected return if you put $50K into inventory? What is the projected margin when it sells? If you hired someone, what revenue or capability does this unlock? This is the question that separates anxiety from analysis. Money that left your account is not the same as money that's gone. And question 3, is my survival reserve on track? Am I 6-month target or am I behind? If I'm behind, what's my monthly contribution plan to get it to where it needs to be? Question 4, what financial decision am I currently avoiding and why? This is the honesty question. There's almost always a decision you're sitting on, a price increase, a vendor negotiation, a hire, a cut, that you've been avoiding because of how it feels, not because of what the data says. Question 5, am I making this month's decision from the math or from fear? This is the scarcity trap detector. If you can't point to a specific number that justifies the decision, you're probably making it from anxiety. And anxiety is the most expensive advisor you've ever hired. Here's where things get interesting. I had a founder do this monthly check for 6 months. In month 3, he caught himself about to cancel a $15,000 per month marketing campaign because his operating account looked low. When he actually ran the numbers, the campaign was generating $52,000 per month in attributable revenue, a 3.5% return. His anxiety was about to cost him $37K a month in net profit because the bank balance felt wrong. The monthly check saved that decision. The founder who built the survival plan separated the accounts and ran this monthly check. He didn't just feel less anxious. He made a fundamentally different decision. He stopped selling assets from fear and started investing from clarity. And here, revenue grew by 40% in the next 12 months. Not because the market changed, but because he stopped letting scarcity drive strategy. Scarcity isn't a financial position, it's a lens. And you can change the lens without changing the bank balance.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gain.